Hey there folks, I'm Mark, in affiliation with Spectrum Pulse, and it's Billboard Breakdown. I don't remember. Hey look, it's a week that might feel normal? Okay, maybe not that. We still got an album bomb here, but it does feel manageable. The sort of week that we might otherwise get regularly as the chart stabilizes for the foreseeable future going to the last months of the Billboard year. At least on that basis, I guess we can take what we can get. Right? And yet when we snap into our top 10, unfortunately that means we're going to be stuck with Stay by the Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber as our number one. Alright, look, there's a part of me that wants to take solace in the fact that its streaming is actually starting to slip a little bit, but it's still consistently strong in every other channel, and that does include streaming, and it just rules the radio. It's not going anywhere. And even despite the album bomb, Industry Baby by Lil Nas X and Jack Harlow can't really challenge it up to number 2. Yeah, streaming and radio made for that one last desperate surge, but all that extra YouTube couldn't really compensate for the fact that on sales, this just peaked too early. Columbia screwed up the promotion yet again. It did push past Way Too Sexy by Drake featuring Future and Young Thug at number 3 though, and honestly I'm not quite sure where this one's gonna go. Currently it rules streaming and sales, and especially the radio have surged, but there's just a part of me that's not convinced this is built to retake the number 1 outside of that album bomb. I'm kinda happy, at least for that. Now, it did push past Bad Habits by Ed Sheeran to number 4, and this is another track where I'm just not sure where it's gonna go at this moment. The sales might be stable, but streaming really isn't, and the radio seems to be starting to slowly evaporate beneath it despite being near the top, which is sadly not the case for Fancy Like by Walker Hayes, stable at number 5, which is surging on the radio with rock-solid sales and mostly solid streaming. Just lovely. Then there's Good For You by Olivia Rodrigo, regaining a spot to number 6, even if all it really has is radio, echoed with Kiss Me More by Doja Cat featuring SZA up to number 7, despite having a little more streaming, but it's likely more because Knife Talk by Drake featuring 21 Savage and Project Pat slid down to number 8 as the streaming starts to fall away. And that leaves us with 2 Lil Nas X songs to round things out. As I predicted, Montero, Call Me By Your Name, surged back to number 9, especially given all that boost, and That's What I Want is our new arrival at number 10, mostly courtesy of sales and streaming. Probably will fall out of the top 10 next week, but I'm relatively pleased to say it debuted this high. Hopefully it'll become a hit. We can dream, right? Now this takes us to our losers and dropouts. And I gotta say, there was a bunch in the latter category that just seemed to need that final push to get elbowed off, with the only one with a chance to really clinch the year-end list being Every Chance I Get by DJ Khaled featuring Lil Baby and Lil Durk, which I'm fairly certain the majority of folks forgot about months ago. Then falling short, we'll likely have Single Saturday Night by Cole Swindell, Ain't Shit by Doja Cat, We Didn't Have Much by Justin Moore, and even Country Again by Thomas Rhett. Really, a lot of country just got pushed out here. Whereas for our losers, the majority are Drake this week, to the surprise of nobody. Champagne Poetry at 24, No Friends in the Industry at 40, In the Bible with Lil Durk and Giveon at 43, TSU at 48, Love All with Jay-Z at 57, In Too Deep with Future at 59, Poppy's Home at 66, Pipe Down at 68, Race My Mind at 89, and 7 AM on the Bridal Path at 92. Now from there, Butter by BTS tumbled down to 24, Family Ties by Baby Keem and Kendrick Lamar lost the album boost to 38, Kanye West saw losses for Moon with Kid Cudi and Don Toliver to 76, and Off the Grid with 504 and Playboy Cardi at 93. Then off the debuts, we had Have Mercy by Chloe at 56, and Life Support from YoungBoy Never Broke Again at 79. And around things out, we got some lesser singles that are just kind of underperforming, like Don't Go Yet by Camila Cabello at 100, and Skate by Silk Sonic at 95. Sadly, I kind of wish that song had done better. Now, to be honest, I'm not really sure how to read our gains and returns all that well this week. Well, okay, the only return we got was Sun Goes Down by Lil Nas X at 91, but the gains feel a little odd here. I guess for continued single momentum, we got Traitor for Olivia Rodrigo. That makes sense at 25. And maybe that's a similar case for the radio pushing Cold Beer Calling My Name by Jameson Rogers and Luke Combs at 29. And Waukesha by Moneybagg Yo getting a late boost to 35. Hell, probably also the case for Beggin' by Mainskin up to 20 despite being as grating as ever. Or how off the debut, Meet Me at Our Spot by The Anxiety held its virality to 44. Or off the return, Cold Heart PNAU remix by Elton John and Dua Lipa went to 74. But the rest here, I'm guessing You Time by Scotty McCreery is riding the album momentum to 50, but what does it reflect for Cold As You by Luke Combs to go up to 69? Or Thinking About You by Dustin Lynch and Mackenzie Porter at 81? And finally, we got Baddest by YoungBoy, Chris Brown, and 2 Chainz at 78, and I can explain this one, because apparently the radio wants to keep it around. Swell. But here's the thing. We are in an album bomb scenario for Lil Nas X this week. So for what fell below the top 40 and is not in the best and worst, we have Am I Dreaming with Miley Cyrus at 97, Lost in the Citadel at 90, One of Me by Elton John barely at 88, Dead Right Now at 72, $sign Slime with Megan Thee Stallion at 47, and Scoop with Doja Cat at 42. Alright, got all that? Okay, because we're not actually starting with Lil Nas X just yet in our new arrivals. Number 98, Same Boat by the Zac Brown Band.
Same hole, wonder where the same time goes. Money too.
Look, at this point, I've given up predicting whatever the hell the Zac Brown Band is going to put out. This is a band that can say they put out some of the best and the worst music of the last decade. And coming off of that, I just did not know what to expect. So to see them go back to this sort of loose, textured beach song with plenty of rickety percussion, fiddle, and whistling, complete with a vocal harmony line with more than a few passing glances at Chicken Fry, but just not being as interesting. I mean, it's a safe bet, I'll give them that. But I keep getting the feeling that even in terms of their own beach material, it's just not as good as it should be. Zac Brown's voice sounds rougher, it doesn't have that warmth and melodic charm it used to have, and I can't really say I love the messaging here either. The whole playing to agreeing to disagree, and you can't understand until you walk a country mile in someone's shoes. I mean, the stuff makes sense for a band like this, but at this point it kind of feels a little bit late and canned, and I'm not really gripped by it. Oh look, I hope Zac Brown can recover from catching COVID, of which I just learned today. I hope he makes a full recovery, and I just hope I can find more to like on that next project, because as of now, not sure this is it. Just saying. Number 86, Tales of Dominica by Lil Nas X.
Sometimes you're all alone.
So one comparison I haven't seen as often as I would expect with Lil Nas X is to that last Post Malone album from 2019, specifically in his shambling, reverb-saturated intersection between pop and trap. And when I look at a song like this, not only do I hear that comparison actually work, but I also think Lil Nas X comes out the other side stronger of the two of them. The cyclical guitar line, the bladed jingle of percussion that clicks into a pretty sweet violin for the outro, a really nice command of melody for the hook, and how Lil Nas X makes the angst feel very credible, frankly more credible than Post Malone has ever done. And I like how it feels grounded in the listless poverty of his past and how his depressed loneliness hasn't really dissipated with fame, especially as he can't quite blot out those voices of everyone questioning his staying power and he doesn't want to have to go back home to face family disappointment. I mean, it's not really revolutionary from a trap perspective, we've heard the subject matter before, but within a pop context, it is something Lil Nas X can make his own. This winds up one of the better songs as a result. Might be a little short, still pretty good. Check it out. Number 80, Love Nwantiti by CKay. Okay, how to explain this one? For those of you who don't know, CKay is an artist from Nigeria working in Afrobeat and R&B, who's seen some success in his home country and bizarrely got some chart success in Canada for his second album in 2019. It's from that album that this single went viral on TikTok, which delivered him real international success, and okay, look, I'm willing to accept that some of this is a cultural difference, but I'm not really feeling this at all. For one, the percussion and vocal mixing feels really messy, not really highlighting the more organic acoustic guitar and the melody. And I do think it's a bit rich for CKay to play the whole all-natural girl with no silicone line when he slathers his own vocals in obviously synthetic pitch correction. But I think my larger issue with the song is that it feels like a fragment, especially the hook, which features a lot of warbling of the same syllable with no real energy or potency. Just kind of forgettable. And what I would actually remember here, I don't really like. Next. Number 71, On My Side by YoungBoy, Never Broke Again.
And she don't want me to lose. I can't make this up, I came through shining. Yeah, you know how I do.
Okay, I'll give YoungBoy this. I actually really like how the fast-paced and kinetic the piano line is to back up the trap percussion, even if that feels a little thin overall. And I do think this is a decent enough hook as a result. Problem is that beyond that, for what that's being framed as a bigger single, I'm just not sure there's enough here to go further beyond YoungBoy's squawking delivery and bog-standard content. Seems a little bit odd where he's highlighting the meaninglessness of diamond chains when it comes to him exacting revenge, given how often he's gonna flex even within this song. Then there's a bunch of lines where he compares himself to a monkey on the second verse. I'm not touching that. And then frankly, that verse just falls apart, where I'm stuck wondering once again just how high YoungBoy is when he's making these increasingly incoherent songs. I don't want to dislike this because, again, I like the production. There's a hook here, but man, YoungBoy's not making it easy because I otherwise really did not care for this. Number 37, Wildest Dreams, Taylor's version by Taylor Swift.
Wildest dreams.
So I've always had mixed opinions on Wildest Dreams, even back in 2014 when it sounded like a flagrant Lana Del Rey ripoff, albeit one I would revisit way more often than any of her material. So when it then went viral on TikTok this year before Taylor Swift could re-record her version of 1989, I guess I understand why she wanted to roll out her version so that Big Machine wouldn't see any crossover profit. So once again, we're stuck with that comparison. And well, initially I was convinced that the new version is better by a considerable margin, simply because Taylor Swift is a much better and more expressive singer, and she simply doesn't sound as canned and thin in comparison with the original. But really, are the strings as lush as they could have been over the bridge? It's frustrating because the big question that's always lingered with 1989 would be how they would adopt some of the production choices. And I'll say it, this could have sounded a lot more rich and orchestral if it could. I mean, it just feels rushed. And they could have done so much more. Ergo, yeah, okay, the song is good, but it could have been great. That's my frustration here. And finally, number 10, That's What I Want by Lil Nas X. Let's not mince words. It's my favorite song of Montero, and if there's going to be a sign that Lil Nas X is going to throw rock timbres into his genre pileup, it's this. Now, this actually works for me because it lets him leverage the rough edges of his production to his advantage, especially the ramshackle acoustics driving into that choppy groove. Funnily enough, it's analogous to a lot of the reasons as to why Old Town Road worked as a country song, but even if this could feel a little bit abbreviated and could use maybe a bridge to properly drive it home, its openly gay horniness balanced out with his desire for real love, it's a nice focal point to drive the frustration of that hook. In other words, just a goddamn great pop song that does exactly what it's designed to do, even if it is a little short. And I'm so happy to see he's actually pushing it as his next single. I'd like to see this become a hit. In other words, obviously for me, best of the week. And Tales of Dominica from Lil Nas X is going to get the honorable mention. Again, it really works. Now for the worst of the week, I don't think there's anything that's terrible here, but on my side with YoungBoy Never Broke Again is nabbing that dishonorable mention, basically only being saved by the hook and the production. And worst of the week is going to Love Nwantiti by CKay. Again, not for me, but even my limited experience with this genre, I have heard more fleshed out and compelling songs. Hell, that WizKid song that's on the charts right now, it does more for me. Next week, I want to say the fallout, but things might actually slow down a bit unless YoungBoy Never Broke Again gets an album bomb. Stay tuned for that. Oh wait, there's going to be another BTS song, that collaboration with Coldplay. Okay, so stay tuned for that. But until then, I'm Mark. You're watching Billboard Breakdown, affiliated with Spectrum Pulse. And I'll see you